Hello everyone and welcome back to Can Pick One Art. Before we dive into today's video, I want to take a moment to commemorate June 25th, Korean War Remembrance Day, or Hyunchung-il. Rest in peace. Today, we are going to explore how to draw landscapes with brush pens. So, let's head outside. It was a pretty hot day, but I was happily on a hunt for the perfect drawing spot. Just like this adorable dog. As a flower designer, I can't help but adore flowers. I believe these are allium flowers, which boast a beautiful violet color when they fully bloom. Their scent is surprisingly similar to an onion, believe it or not. I kept walking, exploring, and finally found it a perfect spot for drawing. Here, two tree logs rest on the ground. Leaves are falling and the wall offers a great backdrop. My plan for today is to draw this very scene 3 times, each from a different angle. I will be using brush pens, a brush, ink, and water. Fun fact, 2 of these drawings were actually done in Central Park. Another fantastic place to explore. Alright, let's get started. I was standing right in front of the spot, completely immersed in drawing, so I couldn't film the very beginning. Soon after, the day got so hot that I couldn't stay outside anymore. So I came back home, hydrated, and filled up with some ice cream. Yay, sugar! Now I'm ready to go. For this first drawing, I started by sketching the log to establish my composition. Then moved to the tree next to it. It's always best to draw the key elements that contribute most to the overall composition first. In my case, these two. Then I worked on the leaves, filling about half of the space before moving on to a third tree and the second log. My drawing is looking quite full at this point. Brush pens are one of my favorite mediums, but I rarely use them alone. I almost always mix them with other mediums like acrylic inks, shellac inks, or watercolors. They can be a bit tricky to use at first because the tip is flexible, unlike regular pens. The key is to control the amount of ink your brush holds. Think of the very first moment you dip a brush into ink. That's when it holds the most. It's the same with the brush pen. As you keep using it, the ink runs low, the tip dries, and your strokes become lighter and more inconsistent. Sometimes the tip even splits into 2 or 3, and I absolutely love when that happens. It allows me to produce unique mark-making patterns or texture. In fact, most of my brush strokes come from these splitting brushes. My first drawing is finished. Yay! Let's move on to the second drawing. I filmed this one vertically for my YouTube shorts, so you'll see the entire process from beginning to the end. Again, I started with a log, then moved to a tree. But this time on the left side, unlike the first drawing. Since this is a vertical composition, it needed a slightly different approach. I even cropped the second tree on the left. For the second drawing, I decided to play with water even more than the first. I draw lines with the brush pen and then apply water with a separate brush as quickly as possible to activate the ink. I'm also doing some light mark making at the same time. So, what is mark making? Mark making in art refers to the various lines, patterns, textures, and shapes created on the surface using different tools and techniques. In this case, I am making thick or thin lines repeatedly. Now that I'm done with the light mark making, I will use the brush pen to make those marks more visible. Since I prefer a low ink brush, my mark making won't be extremely bold. Yay, the second drawing is done. Now for the last drawing. Dun, dun, dun. This is my personal favorite out of the three. I want to show you the subtle difference between my two horizontal drawings of the same scenery. We will see how different they look after I finish the mark making on the background. I've omitted the beginning processes for this one. My mark making here is again drawing multiple thin, short lines repeatedly. I've filled up the background and I am just adding the last touches here and there. And yes, all three drawings are finished. Let's compare. Let's take a look at all three drawings. The first, the second one, the third one. Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching and bye! See you next time.